Welcome to True Life Lessons, where we discover how small, consistent actions can build the foundation for a truly extraordinary life. Meet Mark, a young dreamer living in the rugged mountains of America, who possessed a burning desire to achieve instant greatness. He wanted to become the greatest archer in the country, but he lacked the patience required to master the difficult craft. Hearing of a legendary master named David living on the hill, Mark rushed to find him, seeking a shortcut to success. Master David was a man of few words, known for his wisdom and ability to turn ordinary students into legendary masters. Mark begged the master to teach him everything immediately, believing that talent and speed were the only things that truly mattered. The master looked at the boy and offered a strange choice that would change the way Mark viewed the world forever. David placed a heavy bag of $10,000 on the table, right next to a single, lonely copper penny. He offered Mark the cash instantly, or the penny, which would double in value every single day for 30 days straight. Mark laughed, thinking it was a joke, and reached for the large pile of money, unable to see the hidden value. But David stopped him, showing him the math. That single penny, doubling daily, would grow into over $50 million eventually. Mark was stunned to realize that small, consistent growth over time creates results far greater than any immediate, large lump sum. He realized the master was teaching him about compound interest, a principle that applies to money, skills, and personal character alike. David explained that greatness is not achieved by one massive action, but by becoming 1% better every single day. He called this the 1% rule. Small improvements, barely noticeable at first, compound into massive success over a long period. Mark was eager to shoot arrows, but David handed him a plain stick and told him to just stand still. For the first week, Mark was not allowed to touch a bow. He only learned how to stand with perfect balance. His legs shook and his patience wore thin, but he began to understand the importance of a solid, immovable foundation. Through the rain and wind, Mark learned that before you can control an arrow, you must first learn to control yourself. In the second week, David finally gave him a bow, but it had no string. Mark was confused yet obedient. He spent days just learning how to grip the handle, not too tight, not too loose, just a perfect extension. He began to feel the wood as part of his own arm. The bow was no longer an object, but a limb. David watched from the porch, seeing the boy's impatience fade away, replaced by a calm, focused, and disciplined state of mind. By the third week, the string was attached. Yet Mark was still not allowed to shoot a single arrow at targets. His task was to pull the string back to his anchor point, hold the tension, and feel the power building up. His muscles screamed in protest, but he repeated the motion hundreds of times a day, building perfect muscle memory and strength. He learned to synchronize his breath with the movement, inhale to draw, hold to aim, and exhale to release the tension. While other students were shooting thousands of arrows and missing, Mark was perfecting the microscopic details of his form and mind. A month passed. Mark was no longer the frantic boy who arrived. He was calm, strong, and deeply connected to his weapon. Finally, the master approached him with a smile and handed him a single arrow. The time had come to test him. Mark took the arrow. He didn't rush. He respected the tool, understanding the effort required to make this single shot count. He nocked the arrow. The movement was fluid and effortless, a result of the thousands of repetitions he had performed previously. He raised the bow, his eyes locking onto the target. There was no hesitation, no shaking, only pure focus and stillness. The world around him seemed to disappear. He felt the wind, the distance, and the connection between himself and the target. He released the string. The arrow sliced through the air, flying straight and true, guided by weeks of invisible preparation. thud. The arrow struck the dead center of the bullseye. It was a perfect shot on his very first attempt. Mark lowered his bow. He didn't cheer or jump. He simply smiled, understanding the power of the process he had followed. David nodded and said, "You see, the small, boring things you practiced every day combined to create this perfect result. The standing, the gripping, the pulling. Each small improvement of 1% had compounded into a 100% success." 6 months later, Mark competed against other students who had started at the same time but practiced without a system. The others were inconsistent. Sometimes they hit, sometimes they missed. They relied on luck rather than a solid, built foundation. Mark, however, was unstoppable. He hit the target every single time because his technique was built on unshakable daily habits. David explained that consistency beats intensity. It is better to do a little bit correctly every day than to rush occasionally. Mathematically, if you improve by just 1% every day for a year, you will end up 37 times better. But if you get 1% worse each day, or simply do nothing, your skills will decline down to nearly zero. Mark understood that success is not an event, but a lifestyle. He began teaching others the power of small habits. He applied the 1% rule to everything. He read a little more, exercised a little harder, and became a better person. Walking with his master, Mark realized that the destination was not the trophy, but the person he had become during the journey. He was no longer just an archer. He was a master of his own destiny, built brick by brick, day by day. Like water dripping on a rock, it seems harmless at first, but over time, it is powerful enough to carve stone. Challenges that once seemed impossible became easy for Mark, simply because he never stopped improving, even when progress felt slow. The key is to never break the chain. Show up on the bad days. Show up when you are tired or bored. Even when you fail, get back on track immediately. One mistake is an accident, but missing twice is the start of a new bad habit. In our modern world, it is easy to lose 1% each day through distraction, laziness, and bad habits that accumulate. Your health, your wealth, and your knowledge are all lagging measures of your habits. You get what you repeat every day. Years later, David passed his legacy to Mark, knowing that the boy understood the true secret of mastery and success. Mark looked back at the foolish boy who wanted $10,000 instantly and smiled at how far he had come. He had achieved his dream not by a magic trick, but by the relentless pursuit of being 1% better today. His example inspired the entire village. They learned that patience and persistence were the most powerful weapons they could ever possess. So what about you? What is the small 1% improvement you can make in your own life starting right now? It could be reading 1 page, doing 1 push-up, or saving $1. Do not underestimate the power of starting small. Do not wait for the perfect moment or a massive burst of motivation. Motivation is fleeting, but habits are reliable. Imagine a plane taking off. If the pilot changes course by just a few degrees, the destination changes by hundreds of miles. Your life is the same. A small change in your daily habits today will lead you to a completely different destiny. Be patient, like Mark. Do not be greedy for quick results. Trust that your efforts are being stored up for later. Remember the bamboo tree. It grows underground for 5 years, then shoots up 90 feet in just 6 weeks. That is growth. If you are working hard, but seeing no results, you are not failing. You are simply in the accumulation phase. Greatness is waiting for those who have the courage to keep going when no one is watching and no one is clapping. Mark's journey from an impatient boy to a legendary master proves that the secret to success is hidden in your daily routine. Focus on getting 1% better. Forget about the goal and focus on the system. The score takes care of itself. Will you choose the bag of money, or will you choose the penny that doubles? The choice is yours to make today. If this story inspired you, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more life-changing lessons and stories. Share this video with a friend who needs to hear this message. Together, we can build a community of continuous improvement. Check out the other videos on the screen now to continue your journey of wisdom and personal growth with us. Thank you for watching True Life Lessons. Remember, small habits make a big difference. See you in the next video. Goodbye.